Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. And as free agency is starting to slow down a bit, let's turn our attention fully toward the NFL draft. Specifically, some players that have visits with the Houston Texans. And I want to start off with University of Texas star wide receiver Matthew Golden. For those who live in Houston, remember he played for the Houston Cougs, and before that, he was a star at Klein Cain High School. So Matthew Golden is also the fastest wide receiver in this draft, ran a 4.29. Absolutely scorched the 40-yard dash, great acceleration and explosiveness. And you look at what he did for the Longhorns. 9 touchdowns this past season. As a sophomore UH, he showed the ability to be a dangerous kickoff returner with a couple of touchdowns. And he can play all 3 wide receiver positions. He can stretch the field. He can catch underneath. He will block on occasion. He still needs to improve some of his concentration, but his body control, his ability to high point the football, all big pluses for Matt Golden. And I look at some things with him and what he did. The moment's not too big for him. Would rise to the occasion in big games, and he could beat corners, go vertical, run the 9 route, get deep, and presents a fairly inviting target because he's wide open, creates a lot of separation. So, he's a guy that can still probably polish his routes a little bit and could get a little bit better at, sometimes fighting through traffic when, it's not as wide open, when he's not in one-on-one coverage. But Matthew Golden, an explosive receiver and someone that the Texans had a visit with this week. So he was at NRG Stadium, and who knows? What if it turned out that he was somehow there at 25 overall? Not sure if he will be. Could be the first receiver taken. Could be the second. I could see a lot of scenarios. Do I think they would trade up for Matt Golden? No, I'm not really in that camp that they need to trade. If anything, I think moving back and acquiring even more players would be a good move for Nick Caserio. But, if he's getting close to 25 and the price isn't that high with all the extra draft capital they've acquired, including from the Laramie Tunsil trade, I think that Matthew Golden's intriguing for these players. You think about what he can do, the connection he could have with C.J. Stroud. I think he could be a true deep threat. Remember, Tank Dell is not slated to play this year because of his horrific knee injury. I've reported that several times, reinforcing that again. And then they have Nico Collins. What if you had 2 guys that can stretch the field? Nico Collins, Matthew Golden, Christian Kirk working underneath. Does that sound better to you in some ways than the triumvirate of last year of Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell? Potentially so. Have to wait and see. Do they acquire that player? Is he someone that they can get? You look at, some of the downside of him. There's a little bit of inconsistency sometimes and hand timing. And one analyst said he takes his foot off of the gas a little bit if he feels like he's covered. Okay. Seen that a little bit from some wide receivers. Sounds like nothing that you couldn't work on with coaching and get him to a point where you're more comfortable with having him be, potentially that really strong number 2 wide receiver. Everybody wants to have a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins kind of situation. Well, they don't grow on trees. But yeah, I think Matthew Golden, certainly an intriguing player. I know they're on other wide receivers too, like Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden. But yeah, this is someone that they wanted to get in for a visit, and they brought him in very early. So he was here the same time that Derek Stingley Jr. was having a celebratory press conference after signing his 3-year, $90 million extension. Imagine the matchups between Stingley and Matthew Golden. Intriguing idea, and we'll see if they wind up drafting him. Visits are interesting, but there's 30 of them that they can have. And Matthew Golden, of course, he doesn't count against their 30 because he is from Klein Cain High School, where he was a big-time wide receiver. You look at what you get with Matt, and, he played with Quinn Ewers and also Arch Manning. 58 catches, 987 yards, averaged 17 yards a catch. And he finished his college career 134 catches, 1,975 yards, 22 touchdowns. Very highly regarded. As he said at the Combine, he can play inside and out. You can move him anywhere. And everybody saw that 40-yard dash time. At the Combine, he didn't meet formally with them, but Tank Dell has been advising Matt Golden and talking to him about the Texans program. And He did meet with the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Bengals, the Arizona Cardinals, and also met with the Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Green Bay Packers. So interesting player, and we'll see, does that materialize? And, this is a kind of draft where, the Texans could go a lot of areas. They could also look at the offensive line. And they have scheduled Josh Conerly Jr., Oregon All-American and All-Big Ten offensive tackle. He has them on his visit list, along with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, the Cincinnati Bengals, Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, Chicago Bears. He did meet formally at the Combine with the Texans, so they liked him enough at the formal meeting at the Combine that they wanted to bring him to Houston to meet at Energy Stadium. He also met with the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans, the New England Patriots, Las Vegas Raiders, the Commanders, who he also has a visit with, and the San Francisco 49ers. So Texans in full overhaul mode with the offensive line. As you know, they've traded Laramie Tunsil, their Pro Bowl left tackle, to the Commanders. They signed Cam Robinson. They signed Trent Brown. They traded Kenyon Green to the Philadelphia Eagles. They cut Shaq Mason. They signed Laken Tomlinson. And they traded for Ed Ingram. And I don't think they're done yet. I've heard they're going to draft a couple of offensive linemen. And if anything, having Cam Robinson on a one-year contract, Titus Howard restructuring, being in the final year of his contract, seems to increase the possibility. Maybe they go tackle early. Maybe they go guard. But yeah, Josh Conerly, I could certainly see him kicking inside. Big, strong offensive lineman. I think he had a few rough moments at the Senior Bowl. Everybody's seen that tape of him against a speed rusher, Mike Green from Marshall. Didn't go great, but we also saw him do a good job in the Penn State game against Abdul Carter. 6'5", 311, five-star recruit for the Ducks. And he was a starter full-time by his sophomore year. He blocked for Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix, now the Broncos starting quarterback. He ran a 5.0 40-yard dash at 311 pounds. That is moving. 10-yard split, 1.71 seconds. 34.5-inch vertical. So really good athlete. And he has run under 5 seconds in training. And he's agile, he's quick, he's tough. And I've heard about him having really great football character and loving the game, which is what the fans want to hear, which is what the Texans want to hear. They want to see, well, how much does football matter to you? How important is this game to you? How much do you just have this burning desire to play and to knock people down and to protect the quarterback and to play within a team concept? And he checks a lot of boxes, an outstanding player. I think him or Texas left tackle Kelvin Banks from Summer Creek High School, both those guys would be good Texans, in my opinion. So nice options there in this deep draft if the Texans were just to sit at 25 overall. Unlike Matthew Golden, I think Josh Conerly Jr. could be there. Maybe that's a sweet spot for Josh Conerly and the Texans. And so as I tape this is Friday. So this was a day where they hosted another player. And this player is interesting. It's a cornerback. East Carolina corner Shavon Revel. And my sources told me that he's already visited the New Orleans Saints, reported that previously. And so he's going to meet with multiple teams. And here's one of the reasons why. Last September, he got to this great start. 2 interceptions. Then he tore his anterior cruciate ligament in his knee. Had a great surgery with the Dallas Cowboys team orthopedist. He's been training in the Dallas area. He's still projected as a potential first-round pick. Why? He's nearly 6'3". He's 194 pounds. He's got great speed. And 2 seasons ago, 54 tackles, interception, and 13 passes deflected. It's a passing league. Why would the Texans be interested? Well, you're always looking for talent. You're always thinking ahead. And there's lots of uses for a player like Shavon Revel. So I know the secondary is loaded. Don't know if he's necessarily going to wind up here, but they wanted to meet with him. And yeah, I think he's someone that was, look at high school in Winston-Salem, and speed stand out 55 meters, the 300 meters, the long jump, the high jump, and just a really outstanding player. There's some things that he could work on a little bit, as they say, a little bit leggy in terms of, how high he plays. So he could probably get a little bit lower. I could see him needing to lower the center of gravity, become even a better tackler. But he can turn and burn. He's got that ability. He can reroute wide receivers. He can play press coverage. He can play off. Great eye balance for zone. And, he's got long legs. He definitely has a high center of gravity, but I could see Shavon Revel being a real value. What if he doesn't go in the first round because of the knee? He is expected to be ready, I'm told, by training camp. So, interesting player that the Texans have on their radar enough that they used one of their 30 visits to bring him in. So, they made that a priority, and they did that today, Friday. Shavon Revel meeting with the Texans. So, that's a little bit of a breakdown on 3 players. And I like to go off, information. Who are they meeting with? Who are they talking with? Doesn't necessarily mean that you have the ultimate answer. Provides clues into the thinking. And sometimes players that visit are drafted by the Texans, including Derek Stingley Jr., Will Anderson Jr., C.J. Stroud, just to name a few. So sometimes meetings and activity do show real interest, and it matters. So, they're not obviously going to show you their draft board or tell you their plans because no one does that. But we're looking for information, and you fans, you want to get it, and I'm happy to provide that information, be that conduit for you all, and get that information through my sources around the league and in organization, and just let you know what's going on. And let me tell you a little more about what's going on here. So we're going to continue to provide blanket coverage for you throughout the off season. We're going to continue to make these videos, have a lot of fun doing it, and I'll be at the owners' meetings, so we'll be there. We're going to talk to Team President Mike Timone. We're going to talk to Cal McNair and Hannah McNair. So I look forward to those conversations. And D'Amico Ryans at AFC Coaches Breakfast. So please support this channel. Everything you guys do in terms of the clicks, those of you that are doing the super chats and tipping, that's great. Love it. Appreciate it. Helps me and continue to build this channel. So we're close to 5,000 followers, subscribers, and we're looking to keep building. I'm not setting any barriers on what this channel can become. Love it to be 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. Let's think big. So I appreciate the comments. I read them all, try to reply to as many of them as I can. And of course, I'm on Twitter/X at @AaronWilson_NFL, Instagram at AaronWilson7128. I'm even on Blue Sky and Threads, like all of the social media, Facebook. Any social media, that's great. I embrace all that stuff and like to talk about it. Not really a big go back and forth maybe on Twitter, which is a kind of a weird place sometimes, but I do like to reply to specific comments for the videos I posted. So please feel free to drop me a line and let me know what you're interested in hearing about. I'll try to tailor some of what I do toward what you guys are interested in hearing about most. So until our next conversation, which is going to come right up, we're going to discuss in our next video, we're going to talk about Trent Brown, 6'8", 380-pound swing tackle, former Patriot, and why he's a Texan and what this means for the Texans offensive line. Talk soon.